Welcome to Nonstop. It's the official and season show of Kirk Herbstreit and Joey Galloway. Your first stop for all things football, college and pro, every Monday.
All right, Joseph, November 17th, another Monday, another opportunity for you and I to break down some college football. A lot to get into after this past weekend. Potential upsets, some surprises, college football, CFP implications every single week.
Before you get too far, I think I've seen a video on your Instagram or somebody's Instagram where the dog was laying in a bed. Is that? And you were like talking to the dog,
tucking him in. I was tucking him in.
Was that what are we doing here?
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I'm putting him down. I had to go call a game. I had to go call Georgia and Texas. This is right before I headed up to the booth.
So that's a bed.
He has his own bed with his own pillow.
Sometimes I think to myself, I might be able to get in on this dog thing. And then you do this to me. I feel like you do this and it
Bro, you kill it. We just got out of the gate. We didn't even get into anything yet.
My bad.
I mean,
I take it back. That's perfectly fine.
He's right here beneath me, right here.
Oh, I bet he is. I bet he is.
Right here.
All right. I wasn't sure what I was looking at. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just tucked him in before we headed up to the game. What a game that ended up being, by the way. Georgia,
amazing.
Georgia and Texas. Everybody's acting like Georgia blew Texas out. It was a 14-10 game, and Texas had all the momentum after that interception by Anthony Hill, the touchdown pass to Ryan Wingo, who had a great second half for Texas. And Arch, we cut to a shot on the sidelines. Arch had a team fired up. And then Kirby decides to shake it up, goes for it deep in his own territory. What a call. They brought the tackle over, faked it, threw it out in the flat, first down. Then they go for it again. That was like 4th and 1. Then they go for it again on 4th down to keep a drive alive, take control of the game. They score. And just when you think, oh my gosh, this is incredible. Onside kick.
Amazing.
Onside kick. Kirby.
Maybe the call of the year was
just all of that, not just the onside kick, all of that.
They score, you decide you can get up and go grab a drink or something, and you come back and Georgia has the ball again. And I'm asking Matt and EJ, what happened? I decided to go get a drink real quick. They just scored, so I got some time to run, get a drink before the action gets back. And Georgia has the ball again. And I just thought to myself, what an amazing play call. And something that you don't typically see out of guys like Kirby in those kind of moments, because they're so by the script. This is the way football is done. This is how things are supposed to be done. I just scored. Not sure I want to take a chance here, because if it doesn't work, then they get a shot to get back in it. So I was just expecting kick it deep, get back out there, play some defense. And I come back and Georgia has the ball. It's like, that is maybe the best call of the year, maybe the best call of the year to try to take control in that moment.
Yeah, it was incredible. And it really kind of speaks volumes about why Kirby's the guy. It's the confidence he has in his players, the willingness to take chances. And I thought both his coordinators, Mike Bobo, probably the most underrated, underappreciated play caller as far as design and the way he grows within an offense, whether it's Carson Beck's, that's been late in his career, and of course what he's doing now with what we're seeing this year with Gunnar Stockton. Just incredible. Glenn Schumann put together a great plan. But let's not pretend it was a blowout. I mean, Texas was overmatched. They're on the road in a tough environment. They hung in there. It was just the sequence that we're talking about was the difference in the game, and Georgia deserves all the credit in the world. The other game in the SEC that we were talking about and got excited about, and that was Oklahoma and Alabama. Alabama at home, always tough to beat. And Alabama knew that the strength of this Oklahoma team was their defense. They were able to move the ball, but the turnovers, obviously the difference in the game, -3 for the entire game. One of them a pick 6. It was just, you could say whatever you want. John Mateer, Oklahoma, they can't run the ball. Mateer, I hear people saying he's not the same since the injury. I just think Brent Venables, another coach that deserves a lot of credit. He plays to his strength. His strength is defense, special teams, and a quarterback makes plays like this when the game's on the line. That's kind of how they win. You can poo-poo it. You can say whatever you want. They got lucky. They got this. They won the game, man. They won the game. And I think I heard somebody say, they were outgained 2-1. They were dominated. Mm-hmm. End of the day, they won the turnover margin, which is part of who they are. And they won special teams, and they got enough from Mateer when it mattered. And they went on the road in one of the toughest environments in the SEC and got a huge win to keep their dream alive. So congrats to the Sooners. Congrats to Brent Venables. We looked at that schedule in August, Joey, and thought, man, are they going to be able to survive this? I mean, look at this. Every single, and throw in Michigan in the non-conference, then you get it to conference play. How in the world is a team expected to make it through all this? And here they are with another win, sitting there at 8-2. Missouri coming up, tricky game for them coming up Saturday, early kick, and they end with LSU. But what a performance by that Oklahoma defense once again.
And I think in the middle of that schedule, when they lost to Texas, then they beat South Carolina, and then they lose to Ole Miss, it sort of had that feel, okay, this could go the wrong direction. Go at Tennessee. First half not going well, by the way. Find a way to win the Tennessee game, and then again, you go on the road to an Alabama team. And I know that two locker rooms look at things differently. Oklahoma look at it the same, just what you said. We went in, we won a turnover battle. We did what we needed to do to win. Alabama goes in their locker room and says, that wasn't what we normally do. They're really good in the turnover margin. They were +10 going into that game. So Bama's been good as far as creating turnovers and taking the ball away. And then they threw the pick 6, which they recovered from, so to speak. And then Ryan Williams fumbles the punt. And then you're starting to get that feeling. You've been in those games. You're like, things aren't going right. Like, we are doing things we don't normally do. Ty Simpson missed some throws. Now, he had a good game. If you look overall, he had a good game. He missed some throws he doesn't normally miss. In some moments where he doesn't normally miss these throws, he missed a couple of these throws, and it's like, if Oklahoma can just find a way to hold on, maybe create one more turnover, which they did on the sack, and it's amazing in a game. Whereas before the game, if you said you're going to outgain them the way you did, Oklahoma was it 212 yards. John Mateer is going to throw for 138, and we're going to be able to do these things. Alabama would say, "Hey, yes, we'll if we can do that, if we can hold Mateer to 138, if we can hold Oklahoma to 212, we win. We win that game." And as much as it's coach speak, and we always hear it, you can win the turnover battle, you can win the football game. And that's exactly what Oklahoma did, turning the 3 turnovers into 17 points. It was too much for Alabama to overcome.
Yeah, incredible. And one last game in the SEC, Texas A&M. Sometimes you got to have one of those games when you have a magical season, but I've never seen anything like that. I mean, the way that first half went could not have been any worse. You're down 30-3. And Marcel Reed, who you and I love, we've talked about him most of this year, made some poor throws, some tough decisions, just unlike anything.
That's being kind. That's being very kind. Because honestly, he should have thrown 5 interceptions.
Yeah, easily.
South Carolina was dropping it just like his receivers were. Someone was on the ball in that first half. The DBs for South Carolina were dropping it. and the receivers Texas A&M was dropping it. Go ahead. Yeah, you were being very kind and saying he made some bad throws. That was,
yeah, I mean, I know it was horrendous. And then
awful.
I don't know what Mike Elko did at halftime to this team. I mean, other than, I mean, I'm sure he raised hell and got in guys, you know, challenged their manhood a little bit. But 30-3, I don't know how many times we've ever seen 30-3 at halftime. And you knew A&M, hey, they're probably going to come back and make it an interesting game. But when I saw 30-10, and then it was 30-17, you're like, wait a second, it's still the third quarter. I mean, they still, if they get another stop, they get it to 30-24. They got a shot to come back because now all the momentum, they're at home.
Yeah.
All the momentum is favoring them. So I guess it depends on how you want to view this. It's either, you know, it's different than Penn State and Indiana. You know, Penn State and Indiana, Penn State's the underdog at home, trying to salvage their season, trying to get anything. And you know, Indiana had to come back on the road and find a way to win. Here's A&M at home down 30-3. And Shane Beamer's team, to their credit, came in ready to roll and took advantage of the opportunities. And I think once you felt here that 30-10, 30-17, it's like they're going to come back. They're going to come back and win this thing. And they got it to 30-24. And give credit to that A&M defense because they really just shut them down. It's easy to talk about Marcel Reed and the offense coming alive in the second half, but the A&M defense also came alive to give them that hope, give them that opportunity to come back and win that game. That was insane.
It's a combination. The defense got 4 sacks, gave up 0 points, and they held them to 70 yards in that second half. And so it was a combination. But I'm with you. I don't know that I've ever seen anything quite like what they did in the first half compared to what they did in the second half. So at the end of the first half, 30-3.
30-3, man.
And they came back, and it was amazing what Marcel Reed did. It was amazing. His receivers couldn't catch the ball in the first half. Much like Texas and Arch Manning, Texas had some crazy drops in the first half of their game, which really mattered. You know what I mean? Like if you're a quarterback in Arch Manning and you're having one of those days in the first half, and you throw some balls and your guys don't catch them, you're like in this game against Georgia on the road, we can't make these kind of mistakes. You're right. A&M's at home, and same thing. They couldn't catch. They couldn't do anything the first half. Second half, amazing. The question is going to be, I know what I think of A&M and where I have them ranked. That's what I'm looking forward to seeing your rankings here coming up a little bit later to see if you try to sneak another team in that top 5, what you felt about A&M and the way they played in the first half versus second half, if that moves them for you. So it'd be interesting to see what you think there.
For me personally, I think I appreciate how challenging 12 games is. And I think sometimes people look at Indiana struggling with Penn State. Des and I talked about this a little bit. You know, I think Des took it more of that's a trash Penn State team. You know, what's going on? You know, you shouldn't be struggling with a team like Penn State. I looked at that. I was really impressed. I think college football for me is a week-to-week sport.
Yeah.
In NFL as well. So I think what you've seen from Penn State prior to that game where they're at home, they're starving for a win. They fired a coach. You got a new leadership, new coach. Same with LSU. I look at that as that day in that stadium, Indiana, that is a great win for me. That's my own perspective. That is a great win for Indiana. I was more impressed with Indiana with how they had to win that game in that environment and being down, stadium going crazy, a very talented roster. In this case, I look at A&M and I rather focus on the second half. I mean, yeah, they dug themselves a hole. I have appreciation for how hard it is, especially for the teams that have the bullseye on their chest. And the team that they're playing, I don't necessarily look at it like they're terrible. South Carolina, I mean, Shane Beamer works his ass off to get his team ready to play a game. And to their credit, they took advantage of opportunities and built a lead. It doesn't mean they're a bad team. They haven't had a great year, but they're more than capable. Are you kidding me? With Lenore Sellers and the offense they have, and they've had some injuries. The season hasn't gone the way they had hoped, but they're still capable. So I look at, I don't lose any respect for A&M after this at all. If anything, they dig a hole. By the way, what was going on in the tunnel with this guy, with this cop? What did you see that? What in the world?
I did. We played that back on College Football Final. I don't know. That is one of the strangest things I've seen in football, because like we know people do things in situations. He bows up in a situation with everybody looking. Like you're bowing up on the guy that just scored a 70, 80-yard touchdown. Like everyone is looking at you, and you do this. That was one of the crazier things I've seen on a football field. And
never seen that.
And you could see the South Carolina guys were kind of
he's like, did I miss something?
What happened?
What just happened?
And then kept going. And believe me, and that's one of those conversations that we don't have time for right now on this podcast. If we continue this in the off season, we're going to dive more into that. Because I do have some feelings about that. But I agree with you though, on the A&M and the way you view these things, and the way through a college football season, you're going to have a scare. You are absolutely going to have.
You just hope to win.
You hope to win when you have your scare. It takes 3 or 4 of these to make me change my opinion of what I'm looking at in a football team. One of them doesn't scare me. And again, they got through it. They get a chance to play Sanford this week, and then they have Texas. That one will be a fun one to watch. And they get a chance to prove that they can play 4 quarters like they did the second half of that game against South Carolina.
Another game we were going to touch on, College Game Day, went to Pittsburgh. Really great scene. Really appreciate all the folks in the city of Pittsburgh. Joey, I know you're familiar with that town. Great city. They love their sports. We know about the Steelers and the Penguins and the Pirates, but it's cool to see them giving love to their hometown team, the Pitt Panthers. Notre Dame came in and just took control of that game early. Marcus Freeman said, "This is a great celebration. You guys got a great thing here. This is exciting. But have you seen our running backs? This is CJ Carr. What a spin move. I mean, just so much talent." Notre Dame has such a maturity about them right now. And I think how they handled that, Jeremiah Love, of course, continues to kind of showcase who he is. I think he went for 147 yards, but they just jumped right on top of Pitt early, took control of that game, never really looked back. Notre Dame just feels like one of those teams. It's just kind of like what they did last year, just kind of getting, you could say whatever you want about their schedule, but whatever the challenge is in front of them, they continue to go out there and play great football. With what they have left, a lot of injuries on Syracuse, Stanford. I mean, they're sitting there at 10-2. There's no reason to believe that they're not going to have another opportunity into the CFP. More than likely, probably going to end up hosting another a game the way they did last year, in that first round. But what a win! What an impressive way to just remind people that they're all 3 phases. They're playing good football as we get to the end of November.
Yeah, interesting. To me, this story is more about Pitt. And obviously, we saw what Coach Narduzzi said leading into this game. That didn't ruffle my feathers. It wasn't that big a deal to me. I understood the point he was getting at because of what they have coming up. So I understand that. I think that game absolutely meant more to Notre Dame than it did to Pitt because, again, Notre Dame they're not in the conference. They went out, they're going to get in. Now, if you're Pitt, you get through this game and it didn't feel good. Is Desmond Reed, I don't know if we know anything about Desmond Reed. I think he went down toward the end of the game. I don't know if we know whether he's back or not. But more importantly for Pitt, they go to Georgia Tech this week. And then they have Miami.
Yeah,
So
there it is.
It's right there. I hope Desmond Reed is healthy. The ACC has been very interesting, and I know we had a conversation last week, and I was saying the Big Ten's close to ACC, that whole thing, and the ACC is going to be very interesting, and to the point where you still don't know how the scenarios work themselves out. Virginia beating Duke this past weekend was huge for Virginia. Now Duke goes down to 2 losses. And so the ACC will be interesting to watch, with the big one with Pitt at Georgia Tech this weekend, which will be fun to watch.
Yeah, and Virginia, because of that game against Duke, it really, there was a lot on the table for both these teams. We talked about that last week, that despite Duke sitting there at 5-4 at the time, they were 4-1 in conference play, and if they got through that game, they had a real shot. Still, believe it or not, despite that overall record, is still getting into the conference championship game. But UVA just dominates that football game. Went on the road to be able to do that. They got great balance. Chandler Morris is having a year that not a lot of people, I think, outside of the big SEC Big Ten world probably are paying much attention to. Tony Elliott has had this team. You and I have been talking about them all year. They're a top 20 team. They'll move up after this impressive win. And now they got Virginia Tech. I know it's a rivalry game. You always want to respect rivalry games and the potential of when one team has nothing to lose, the other team has everything to lose. There's always that threat. But I don't know what the point spread is already on that game, but they are going to be heavily favored. And so they're very close to punching their ticket, which would be an amazing feat for Tony Elliott.
Absolutely.
I mean, there are a lot of people that probably looked at him in his first few years and thought, this guy's just not a head coach. He's not ready to be a head coach. He's had to deal with some stuff off the field. He's really done a great job. Went out and got Chandler Morris. He's buddies with his dad, who used to be the Clemson OC, and went out there and got a quarterback that made a huge difference this year. And credit to the Cavs, man. They're going to beat Virginia Tech. They're going to punch their ticket. I personally think they're going to play Georgia Tech in the ACC championship game. But Georgia Tech, man, they've got to just kind of put a total game together on both sides of the ball. You know, I mean, Brent Key.
That's the best way to put it with Georgia Tech. It felt different early, and now it the loss to NC State is a killer. And then the Boston
College game was ugly on the road.
On the back of losing a game, having a bye week, coming in, and then playing like that against a Boston College team that has 0 ACC wins. See that? So when I say, like, it takes more than what Indiana did or what Texas A&M did to make me concerned. What Georgia Tech just did, that's concerning.
Yeah, 2 in a row.
To NC State, bye week, and then having to find a way to beat a Boston College team that has been in a complete struggle this season. That's concerning to me. And if I'm Pitt, I'm like, this is the time I want Georgia Tech. Like, this, in this moment, is the time I want a piece of Georgia Tech. If they can lick their wounds, rebound, and get right for the game this weekend, Pitt is coming at the right time to get a piece of Georgia Tech.
And Pitt, despite that loss, because of what you mentioned earlier, you go to Georgia Tech in Atlanta, primetime game on ESPN, and then you follow that up with a game against Miami. I mean, if they can recoup from that loss against Notre Dame, get healthy and get right emotionally and mentally, if they can win out these next 2 games, they and I think that's what Coach Narduzzi, that's what he was alluding to in that presser, where everyone kind of was like, kind of scratching their head like, no, you're playing Notre Dame. Why are you saying it doesn't matter? Well, I think he was just trying to put into context. Yeah, of course it matters, but whether we beat Notre Dame or we lose to Notre Dame, guys, we got 2 huge games in conference play coming up, and we got to take care of business in those games. And so, like I said, if they're able to it'll be a tough environment. I can't remember the last hyped up Georgia Tech home game at night. So if there's anything that can get them out of, kind of I don't want to say a funk, but these last 2 games haven't looked their best. So if there's anything you would think that would get them out of it, it would be playing Pitt at home under the lights. For it's senior day for a lot of these guys that have been there. I think there's like 25 guys that'll be playing their last game, including Haynes King. So there'll be a lot of emotion there. I like Georgia Tech to be able to win that game at home. And I think, like I said, I think we're going to eventually see a Georgia Tech matchup in the end against Virginia for all the marbles. How do you think, we've touched on a lot of these games. We saw the AP and the coaches poll. How do you think the results of this, Bama's going to be impacted by what happened? What do you think the CFP, you fly over to Connecticut, do the show again with your guys on Tuesday night. You think there'll be any massive changes? Who's in that kind of that gray area in that 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 spot? I wonder how far Bama will drop after where they were just a week ago.
I think the first thing when you look at this, the first thing that gets interesting to me about Alabama and Oklahoma's sitting at 11 and Alabama was sitting at 4. Oklahoma beats them. Can they flip them? Because that'll be the main thing that people want to see. Oklahoma just beat Alabama, so Alabama has to fall far enough and Oklahoma has to jump high enough to beat them because they have them in the head-to-head. That'll be the first thing that'll be interesting to me to see how that works out. I'm going to say, so Texas will move down. I'm going to say Alabama. I'm going to say Alabama goes right in that.
And that 8, 9, where Texas and Oklahoma were.
Yeah, right in that area. And I mean, because then you got to look at who could you get them? Who could you get above them? Because Oregon's still very interesting to me. Oregon has USC this week. That'll be their chance to get another ranked win on their resume, and that'll be USC's chance to get maybe in the Big Ten conversation. But yeah, I'm thinking right in that place where Texas and Oklahoma are sitting. What are your thoughts on that?
It's interesting. I don't know if we can just kind of blow up the that middle part there. For maybe people can see it good enough, but it's really interesting these next couple weeks for the committee. Yep. I mean, you look at the Big Ten and the SEC just to start with, not to mention you get into the Big 12 with a rematch more than likely with Texas Tech and BYU. Both of them had great games last week. Utah's hovering out there. BYU still has to go to Cincinnati. You got Miami in the ACC. We just talked a lot about Miami and Georgia Tech and Virginia. You got Notre Dame out there. You got the group of 5. We just saw the Bulls lose to Navy. So you got JMU and North Texas that are out there as a group of 5. But I think how many from the SEC and how many from the Big Ten is going to be so interesting. Let's take the Big Ten. Ohio State continuing to win football games. They have a showdown coming up with Michigan at the end of the year. They have, of course, more than likely the Big Ten championship. Looks like with Indiana. You got Oregon playing USC. USC's closing ground. USC has Oregon. They have UCLA. Depending on how you want to look at this, if USC were to beat Oregon, and how high will Oregon go up? They were 8 last week. They won. Teams ahead of them lost. They're probably going to move up to 6 or 7. If they were to lose to USC, is that it for Oregon? How far do they go down? Is USC in a position where if they beat Oregon and beat UCLA, are they going to move high enough up to potentially get in with Ohio State and Indiana to give the Big Ten 3? Would you have Oregon still being there? What if Michigan were to win out? What if they beat Ohio State and avoid Indianapolis and they're 10-2? You just beat the number 1 team. Are they going to be up there potentially? They've been playing some ugly football, but winning. Would they potentially be? I'm just saying, at 10-2, beating number 1, would they be in there?
Well,
they'd have an argument. And then what about? And
they need USC to lose, though. Michigan needs USC to lose.
Yeah. I mean, if because of the head-to-head.
This weekend, it'll be interesting to see if Iowa is still ranked also.
But dude, if Michigan beats number 1, how do you
USC
handle
beats
that?
number 8, and USC beats number 8.
I think USC. I think USC. The USC Michigan debate has been decided by the head-to-head. I'm just saying at large,
Right.
big picture.
So that's what I'm asking you. So if you're saying you get to the end, USC has run the table, which would then mean that they have a win over Oregon.
And Michigan
runs the table and they have a win over Ohio State.
Or USC would get the nod. If
USC
it's down to
would have to get the nod in that situation because of the head-to-head. That's what I'm saying. Michigan, any conversation that pertains to Michigan, they have to root against USC. They need USC to lose another game, or they could never.
But take that scenario. If Oregon were to win out and beat USC and eliminate USC, and Michigan were to beat Ohio State, by the way, that's obviously a massive ask for them.
Yeah.
But if they did beat Ohio State and they're 10-2, would you take Ohio State, Indiana, Oregon, and Michigan? That's 4 from the Big Ten.
Yeah, and I think that's the only question. There's going to be 3, period, unless craziness of Oregon losing to somebody else. I think the winner between Oregon and USC this weekend, if they win their next game, which they should, that team will be the third team getting in. USC is either going to jump high enough by beating Oregon, or Oregon is going to stay where they are, and that'll be the third team.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Is, can you get 4 right?
Yeah,
Michigan.
Let's just say, for argument's sake,
it'd be interesting. Also, go ahead.
I was going to say, for argument's sake, say there's 3 from the Big. Say there's 3 from the Big Ten, right? And now you have to figure out. You're going to have a log jam in the SEC at the end of this year. No matter who goes to Atlanta, who doesn't go to Atlanta. Last week they had 7 teams ranked in the top 14. If you go all the way down to Vandy, right? And now you had Texas lose. Texas still plays Texas A&M. I mean, if they were to somehow beat A&M at home, I'm not saying they're in. I'm just saying, even sitting there at 9-3, you'd at least have to have them in the discussion, right? As a potential at large. That's going way down. A&M, Georgia trending better than anybody. Ole Miss isn't going away. They're going to be there 11-1. Alabama, even after a loss, if they beat Auburn, they're 10-2. Oklahoma, they got Missouri this week. I'm not saying they're going to win them all, but they got Missouri and LSU. If they finish 10-2, so you got A&M, Georgia, Ole Miss, Alabama, Oklahoma. Those 5 almost seem like locks if they were to win out.
Yep.
And then it would leave you with Texas and Vanderbilt as 6 and 7, that potentially Texas could end up with a win at the end over A&M, and Vandy could end up at 10-2. And both of those teams would be on the kind of on the outside looking in, but they would at least be on the fringe in the discussion. That would be 5 locks from the SEC. And now
Vandy,
we talked about
Vandy also has a win. Good.
Something's up, I think, with your mic again, babe. We have to.
What in the?
I don't know. I think you're. I don't know if this mic is working. But real quick, if there's 5 from the SEC and there's 3 from the Big Ten, right? That's 8. Group of 5 is 9. Notre Dame is 10. That leaves 1 for the ACC and 1 for the Big 12. If you go 5 from the SEC and 3 from the Big 10, if I'm adding that up, that's 8. Group of 5, 9. Notre Dame, 10. That would be 1 from the Big 12 and 1 from the ACC. It's either that, or the 5 I just gave you from the SEC: A&M, Georgia, Ole Miss, Oklahoma, and Alabama. Who are you going to keep out of those 5 in order to try to put a second team from the Big 12 or a second team from the ACC? I don't know how you're going to get 2 from the Big 12 or the ACC and still be able to keep 1 of those 5 out of the SEC and 3 from the Big 10.
It's a good question. I think that there becomes your argument, and I think that the committee has shown a lot of respect for the Big Ten so far, and
Yep.
in these rankings. I think keeping Iowa ranked after they lost, I think that showed respect for what they thought of Oregon, what they thought of Iowa, and so they're still sitting there. So as the SEC plays out, because Vandy still has to go, I think, on the road to Tennessee. So these a lot of these scenarios that we put out, they pertain to people winning these games that who knows if they will or they won't, and who knows what that means to their resume if they will or they won't. I think the ACC has put itself in a position to get one, and
you have to get one.
And that, well, I'm saying like to only as we start to talk about.
You're saying, oh yeah, only one.
Yeah, another one, because you have to compare the second team. If we're going like, who's your second team?
So who would be the second team in a Big 12? You're right about the ACC. Who's the second? Yeah. So the ACC is going to get one. But what about this? What if Miami doesn't make the ACC championship game, and it's Georgia Tech and Virginia, and Miami sits there at 10-2, right? And they beat Notre Dame at the beginning of the year. And the winner of the ACC championship goes in, and Miami's going to have a case as an at-large team, right? I mean, they play Virginia Tech and Pitt at the end of the year. I mean, I think they're going to have a case. So I'm not sitting here saying they have to put 5 in the SEC. They have to put 3 or 4. I'm just saying, think about being on this committee. Miami, if they win their last 2, they got a strong case, right? The Big 12, Utah might be that one team that's trying to make a case for themselves. If Texas Tech and BYU match up again, yeah, it's hard to imagine BYU getting in if they were to lose to Texas Tech again. But you maybe have Utah. You got Miami out there, man. If they don't go to Charlotte,
but Herb, that's the other problem. I don't know if my mic is working or not working, but when you start to talk BYU and Utah, because BYU has a win over Utah, so you have that issue again.
Yeah,
because if BYU plays Texas Tech for the Big 12 championship game, they don't get penalized if they lose that game. So it's not like, they added another loss, so they have to fall behind. I don't think they fall behind Utah at that stage.
So you're just saying, in that case, Texas Tech would be the only team in from the Big 12.
Well, here's what I'm saying. I think that Utah's out of the conversation. If BYU and Texas Tech play for the Big 12 championship game, that eliminates Utah from any conversation that would pertain to them getting into the playoff, because unless the Big 12 got 3, because at that point it would, if they got 2, it would be Texas Tech and BYU, because BYU beat Utah and they will not penalize them for losing in the championship game to Texas Tech in a way that would allow Utah to jump in front of them. That's my 2 cents.
Well, I'll say this, man. Where they rank Alabama this week after losing to Oklahoma,
yes,
I think is going to be a precursor for what they think of Bama. In the AP poll, when it came to Alabama and Miami, Bama, this is the AP poll. There's no SEC bias, Same with the coaches. Are you going to blame everybody for having an SEC bias? Every coach that votes in the coaches poll, every AP writer, both of them had Alabama at 10. And they had Miami at 14, well behind Miami. If we're talking about trying to visualize where Bama might drop after being 4, really outplaying Oklahoma to a large degree, but losing the turnover margin, pick 6, give Oklahoma all the credit. They won the game. It's another loss for Bama. They're second. How far do they drop? I want to see where Miami and Bama are this week, because as we're sitting here trying to project what the committee might do in 3 weeks on that Sunday, if Bama were to win out, and they got Auburn, which is never easy, especially on the road when you're supposed to win.
Yeah.
But if they were to win out, I'm starting to look at these at-large teams, and I'm looking at, we know in the ACC, if Virginia and Georgia Tech play, the winner's in. But does Miami have a case? Of course they have a case. But as they're weighing these options, I don't know how you move Miami 3, 4, 5 spots, depending on where they are this Tuesday, past Alabama, if Bama's already ahead of them and they went out, and avoid Atlanta. So, and Bama, you start adding it up, A&M, Georgia, Ole Miss, Bama would be the 4th, potentially 5th team in these rankings for the SEC. So we're not trying to, these idiots that say, how much do people pay you to say this? Like we're talking about the sport. We're talking about what we care about. I don't give a about the SEC. I give a about where they going to come, how are they going to find these 12 teams? How are they going to split these hairs at 11, 12, 13, 14? It's fascinating to me. I don't really care who they put in. Put Miami in. I don't care. I don't care if you put 6 group of 5 teams in. Do whatever you want to do. I'm just saying, based on what the Sagarin ratings, the AP, the coaches poll, everybody recognizes the depth and the challenge of the SEC. You can hate that. You can make fun of that. Do whatever the hell you want with that. That's the reality of the sport. That's the reality of the world. You can live in fake world, do whatever the you want to do as far as I'm concerned. But the reality is this sport, we're trying to get the best 12 teams in. And how we get there, I got no idea. I'm glad I'm not on the committee. I'm glad I don't have to decide between Miami and Alabama, because I got no idea how you split the hairs on these teams.
You can always tell when you'll be talking and then all of a sudden the juice turns up a little bit. And you start to
I get so tired of the
you start to think of where somebody was annoying to you.
Damn, I just get so tired of these people talking about
done,
SEC, how much they pay you. Are you kidding me?
All the
I've been there
comments are going to
30 years, Joe. I've been there 30 years.
I know.
I've never one time had a person at ESPN say, by the way, we were accused of this when we didn't have the SEC on ABC.
Yeah.
So at some point, aren't you idiots going to realize that the people in the NFL that draft these players, they pick a lot of SEC players. The AP voters, that's east to west, north to south in the country, they're all voting. This is not AP writers from the SEC region. Everybody votes. The coaches, east to west, north and south. Everybody recognizes the SEC is a step ahead of everybody else. Why is this so hard for people to put your arms around? Wake up. It's a reality. Go ahead, Joe.
They're going to say the same. When we get done with this, it's going to be the same comments. It's going to be the same. You guys are drinking the Kool-Aid, blah, blah, blah. You could say it till you're blue in the face.
Whatever.
We went to Ohio State. There is no extra love for the SEC. It's just, you could say it forever and someone's coming in with that line. It's just the way it goes. You hate every fan base out there. I hate every fan base out there. It's just what they say. You hate us. Yeah. You never say anything good about us. You're like, one of the better ones.
We hate everybody.
One of the better ones was the week you had Indiana ranked #1, and one of your sons flashed up the comment, you hate Indiana. And it's like on the same screen as you had him ranked #1, the comment was, you hate Indiana. Like that just is what it is. They think we love them more than we do. We just, it's just football. We don't actually care who gets in. I hope everyone wins out, to be honest with you. I love it when the committee's put in a bind. That's why
they're going to be, this could be an all-timer.
I want them to be put in a bind because I want to see on that selection Sunday, December 4th, 5th, somewhere in that area. That's when it's fun, is when nobody has a clue what's about to happen.
This is going to be an all-timer. This year, the committee is going to be put in a really tough spot with the at-large teams. We and I'm not one of these people saying, why does a group of 5 have to be in? You know, there are a lot of people that get upset about the group of 5. Mm-hmm. You know, reality would be, it would be cool, kind of like March Madness, if at the end of the day, you just rank the teams, whether it's combination of the committee and computers, do whatever you want to do, just rank them 1 to 12. And whether you're a group of 5 and you got up there or you didn't, here's our 12 teams, have at it. That would be one way of doing it. We got James Madison sitting down there at 21 in the AP. You got North Texas out there. That's 9-1. Tulane's 8-2. So we'll see what happens with the group of 5. Notre Dame looks to be in a really good position.
When does this expand? When do you think this expands past 12?
I don't. Right now, if they don't come up with an answer here in a few weeks, it'll continue into 26. Same deal.
We're going past 12. I mean,
when you have different agendas, different people.
Well, that's up to you and your people.
No, but I'm saying the Big Ten has a very different view of what they want to do to get it to 14 or 16 versus what the SEC wants to do. So I don't think they're going to come. I don't think they're going to agree on whatever that number is.
We're not staying at 12 like that. Hey, listen,
we are for next year.
If YouTube and ESPN can come to a conclusion on how to get back together, they had a disagreement too. We're going past. I'm not saying it's going to be next year.
When are we going to go past 12? When? Because
we're going past 12. Because if we go through next year with this thing, because again, I think these conversations that we have that pertain to what do you do with these teams that are sitting right there in that 10 to 14 area, 10 to 16 area, and you have a group of 5 that gets in? The solution to that in most cases is let's expand. The only question is, can they make more money? Because if they can make more money, they'll take this thing all the way up to 64. How do you make the money? When do you make the money? How do we agree to split the money once it's there? We're going to figure that part. There's no chance. I'm not saying it's next year. What I'm saying is there's no chance we stay at 12. And then maybe I get to go to a game. If we get past 12, I get to call a game. You get to call a game.
That'd be great. I think I'm with you. What you're saying makes a lot of sense, but I just don't see how everybody's going to get on the same page. I just don't know how that's going to.
How we cut up the money? Is that our concern?
Yeah, or automatic qualifiers. Like how many teams get in?
That's our problem here. Why do we have to? You just said, wouldn't it be interesting if we didn't have any automatic qualifiers? Just ranked 1.
I think that'd be great. Let's just take the best teams. But other people don't see that. The Big Ten wants.
I kind of like
wants automatic qualifiers.
I like automatic qualifiers. So you don't. I like them. The way to keep all of us happy, you have enough at-large bids that you don't run into the automatic qualifiers being an issue where it keeps out a Big Ten team, an ACC team, or whatever it is. You expand the field to a place where you feel comfortable, where it's like, listen, I am a fan, and I always have been, of getting the small schools in. At least one small school have a shot. I've always been a fan of that. So I like that part of it. I'm a fan of the automatic qualifiers. One. Not 4 for the Big Ten, 4 for the SEC.
I misunderstood you. I thought you meant, okay, the Big Ten gets 5, the SEC gets 5.
Hell no.
See, that's that's the disagreement I'm saying. That's where the
this thing is cyclical. You know what I mean?
Right.
This is cyclical. In some years, the Big Ten deserves 5. In some years, they deserve 2.
Right.
Why do we force that part?
Dude, that's where there's this. The SEC says, let's just rank them and put them in. And the Big Ten saying, the Big Ten needs 4 or 5 or whatever the number is. And the ACC needs, I'm with you. 1's fine. The conference champion. Fine. But other than that, let's just stack the teams and go at it.
See,
hey, let's
this is how you get in trouble.
I wish we had more than an hour, but we're flying by. Let's answer some questions. By the way, if you're enjoying this stream, Please leave a like and please subscribe on YouTube, because we love this. We love having an opportunity to chat with you guys. We love having a chance, Joey and I, to talk to each other. And by the way, these are great discussions. We can agree to disagree. We can all have a very passionate discussion because we care about this sport so much. We love the back and forth. I really appreciate people who are tuned in right now and disagree with us vehemently. That's great. I love your passion. I'm so grateful for your passion. I know Joey is as well. But if you enjoy this, like I said, leave a like and subscribe. We do this every single Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern. We'll do it again next week. But we only have 9 minutes left. Let's answer a few questions here, see what's on people's minds, and we will continue to kind of get into other topics depending on what kind of questions we get. What's the first one we have here, Joey? I cannot widen my lens. There we go. Which game are y'all most excited to watch this upcoming weekend? I think there's 3 games for me. Oregon USC is awesome. Can't wait to see if SC can keep this thing going in that environment. Can Oregon prove that they are one of the big boys and deserving of a spot? So a lot at stake there. Georgia Tech at home after 2 rough games. They lost to NC State. They found a way to beat BC. Now they get Pitt coming off of a tough loss against Notre Dame. And also think Missouri and Oklahoma is a really good game. Missouri continues to show that despite being maybe out of the CFP, they are nasty. They get their quarterback. From what I understand, Bo Pribula is supposed to be back this week. Early kick. Oklahoma is one of those teams. It just body blow. I mean, every single week, their margin of error, because offensively, they really don't have much of a running game. They didn't throw for much last week, but they're winning with defense, special teams, turnover margin, and Mateer making just enough plays. That makes it for a very small margin. That's an early kick at 11 a.m. local. Those are the 3 that stand out to me. It's hard to pick one. How about you, Joey? Is there one that stands out?
I agree. I hope the weather in Oregon is good. I feel like so many of these late season Big Ten games have been rainy. When you watch them, when you watch USC and Iowa, it's raining the entire time, so you don't get a great feel for the team. Hope the weather's great. That matchup will be really fun to watch. And I am absolutely looking for the Pitt at Georgia Tech, just because I do believe that Pitt, if they're healthy, I hope Reed is healthy. I hope they get past the Notre Dame, the feeling of that, because I want 2 teams at their best. And I think they're catching Georgia Tech at the right time. That will be fun to watch to me. And obviously with an eye on Missouri, if they can run the ball with Hardy. Do you know if R. Mason Thomas is back for Oklahoma? That's another for them also to go on the road and win without him. Also another amazing job by Oklahoma. But I think those are the games of the weekend that everyone's sort of looking forward to.
Okay. Let's hit the next one. Who's your Heisman favorite right now? Jeez. Mendoza?
Why is Jeremiah Love not getting more?
Jeremiah Love? I love him. He's a great one.
He doesn't get enough conversation in this.
I think he does. Probably at this moment.
Every time I see the rankings, I'm not saying he's not in the conversation, but I feel like in the past few weeks, it's been Mendoza and Sayin at Ohio State. Like, it's like those 2 have been at the top, sort of like flipping and flopping at the top of the Heisman chances or rankings, whatever you want to call it.
I think he's in the top 3 right now. I don't hear a lot of conversation about it. Joey, I'd put him top 3.
Okay. But you know how that works. There might be 3, but there's really 2. And then the other guy's just sort of there. Do you think he's at number 3 with an opportunity to get 1 or 2? You know what I mean? It always feels like there's always a person in the top that really doesn't have it. They're just there because, hey, take the trip to New York.
I don't know, man.
Enjoy it. Not a real chance. I don't feel like he's getting enough respect for what he's been, what he's done, and the player he is.
He's awesome. I love watching.
Yeah, he's amazing.
He's so good. I think Mendoza, because the year that Indiana's having. When was the last running back to win the Heisman? Is it Mark Ingram, maybe? I can't remember the last running back to win a Heisman Trophy, because it's always a quarterback on a highly ranked team. Or last year, Travis Hunter was kind of an outlier. You know,
it tends to be a quarterback award.
Derrick Henry, did he win it after Ingram? Derrick Henry win? I don't know. It's been a long time. Derrick Henry,
yeah. You knew somebody's coming up with it quicker than
it's been a while, man. But that's the point, man. Think about that. If anybody deserves it, he does. You know, Jeremiah Love, he'll be on. I vote, you vote. I mean, he'll be on my top 3, and depending on how they finish here these next few weeks, very easily could put him at 1. I have no problem at all with that. Let's hit the next question. If James Madison gets in the CFP, could they potentially be a Cinderella story or a team? A lot of people saying Gunnar Stockton as well. I got no problem with that either.
No problem with that one either.
Yeah, I like that name. Kid is balling. I've done 4 Georgia games. Each time I walk out of there, more impressed with him. Marcel Reed's in it. James Madison. Are they a Cinderella story? Are they a Cinderella story? Do they have a chance? I love that they're even in the. There wasn't long ago. Game day was going to JMU. They were an FCS team, you know, trying to, and now here they are already in the mix. I don't see them if they get in. I think it'd be a great story. If they get in, I think it'd be tough to imagine them going on the road. Remember, they'd be playing a team at a home playoff game. I'm not saying they don't have a chance.
Where's our bracket? Is the bracket? Where's that? Can we see that bracket one more time, just to get a feel for who James Madison would play if this was to end today?
Well, I don't know if we have. That's just we break it down by conference.
We don't have the bracket. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they would more than likely play the number 5 team, which who knows who that would be. In the AP, I think it's Oregon. In the coaches poll, it's Oregon. I mean, you're going into the deep end of the pool.
Yes.
So
I
love it. I love the concept. I love the concept of it. I just want to say, in this sport compared to hoops, it's very, very different and difficult to imagine these Cinderella stories, because March Madness, you know, it's a field of 64, neutral site. It's basketball.
You're shooting a basketball.
Shooting the ball, and you make a run, and no one really pays attention to you till you get to the Sweet 16. And it's like, hey, look at this here. Look at this team. This is great. What a story. I think it's a lot tougher in college. All right. 2 more minutes. Try to get to 2 more questions. What do we got? Next question. Bojo and Kirk, if Bama loses to Auburn, do you guys think they'll still make the playoffs? No. I do not. Next question. At what point do we get rid of Notre Dame and Group of 5 auto bids? Maybe that's part of the New Deal. Maybe they just eventually go to no automatic qualifiers except for conference champs, and everybody else is just stacked.
And Notre Dame doesn't have a automatic qualifier. As long as they play good football, they're going to get in. I hope we never get rid of automatic qualifiers.
Yep. One more. Go ahead. One more question. How old is Peter? Come here, babe. He's sleeping right now. He's 2. Just turned 2. Here's his.
That was a setup. Hey, let's get one more. Hurry up. Get one more.
Look, here's his tired face.
No, he's probably laying in the bed. You just tucked him in right before the show started. That's Peter?
This is Peter.
Oh, it looks like who's the older one? Theo.
No, this is Pete.
Okay. They look alike.
He is tired. We took him for about a 4-mile walk today through the woods. Look at his face.
All dogs look alike.
All right, Joey. Great job, babe. I wish we had more time. Have a great week. Thank you guys for all your questions. Thank you for the conversation. We love it. We love the sport. Love the passion of it. Have a great week. We'll see what happens this week with the rankings. Joey and I will hop on tomorrow night after he and Reese and Boog and Greg release the rankings. Joey and I do a show very similar to this, kind of a quick reaction on Tuesday night. And we'll do that tomorrow night. And everybody, until then, take care. Appreciate you.